Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Poetry Thursday. We're here on BookTube. A few enterprising channels read you a poem on Thursday, and maybe gas on about it. Certainly, I do, and I do partially for a reason, because I've made a melodrama out of Poetry Thursday, as I make melodramas out of everything. I am a proper Kindle girly, so I make melodramas out of everything. I am reading one book, one anthology. This 20th Century American Poetry, really, really good. Big, thick, heavy thing. Can't really perceive how heavy it is, but it's a big, thick, heavy, well-made thing that is taking us all through 20th century poetry. So I know that troubled waters await, and we're just slowly getting to them, that's all. But we're not there yet. We are still at a poet that I don't particularly like. Archibald MacLeish is a poet that I don't particularly like. I find his poems to be, we've seen a couple of examples of poets like this. I find his poems to be programmatic, lacking in heart, mainly academic exercises. So I'm only going to read you one. It's You, Andrew Marvell. And the note that is appended to the title identifies Andrew Marvell as an English poet who lived until 1676 and who wrote To His Coy Mistress. And a line in To His Coy Mistress is, "But at my back I always hear Time's winged chariot hurrying near." And that is why that's in the title of this poem, because it informs the poem, which goes like this. And here face down beneath the sun, and here upon earth's noonward height, to feel the always coming on, the always rising of the night. To feel creep up the curve in east, the earthly chill of dusk, and slow upon these underlands the vast and ever-climbing shadow grow. And strange at Ecbaton the trees take leaf by leaf the evening strange, and flooding dark about their knees the mountains over Persia change. And now at Kermanshah the gate dark empty and the withered grass, and through the twilight now the late few travelers in the westward pass. And Baghdad darken and the bridge across the silent river gone, and through Arabia the edge of evening widen and steal on. And deepen on Palmyra's streets the wheel rut in the ruined stone, and Lebanon fade out, and Crete high through the clouds and overblown, and over Sicily the air still flashing with the landward gulls, and loom and slowly disappear sails above the shadowy hulls, and Spain go under, and the shore of Africa, and gilded sand and evening vanish, and no more the low pale light across that land. Now the long light on the sea. And here face downward in the sun to feel how secretly the shadow of the night comes on. That's from 1930. We're a good way through this book. We're still dealing with poems that were written in the 1930s. That is the image that is in that poem, is that darkness is coming on for the whole world. And each of these storied places, Ecbatana and Palmyra and whatnot, in each of these storied places, surely the darkness is coming. It is inevitable. It reaches every one of them, no matter how exotic, no matter how far-flung they are. Hence the allusion to Marvell, because death is, that winged chariot catches us all, and there's no way around that. So here, Archibald MacLeish does a fairly simple poetic maneuver of likening that to nightfall. There are some good images. I really like that still flashing with landward gulls. That's very neat. The way, if you're not in a maritime setting, you might not be aware of the way the turning gulls at dusk can catch the last light of the sun. They're very white underneath. That's a kind of a neat thing, but it's mostly, I don't know, it's lovely. It's well done. I'm sure you caught the rhyme scheme. It just strikes me as a poetic exercise. It strikes me as something from a blue book rather than from the heart. I don't have any better way to illustrate what I mean by that than to compare this with next week's poet, who writes very similar stuff at very much the same time. One of the reasons why we're getting poems still in the 1930s, even though some of these poets are living into the 70s and even 80s, is because a lot of them did their best work then. And a lot of their later work, it doesn't reflect the changes in style and in the genre that our editors want to highlight. Our next poet writes very similar poetry, only with total heart, with total conviction. So we'll see. We'll see. I could be biased. The next poet that we'll get to next Thursday is one of my favorite American poets. So I'll wrap this up for now, and we will move on next time to Edna St. Vincent Millay. I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.